Now I'm going to share a real game changer with you today with resin. I know I say this a lot, but it is. And I've been testing this out. I'm going to be using enamel paint on my mould. Now I know a lot of people use mica powder and all that, and I do too on moulds, and that looks amazing. But also people like to paint on them, but unfortunately with a lot of the paints, it just slides down the mould and you don't get a very good finish on it. But after testing this quite a bit, I've discovered this works really well. Now, I'm going to shake all my paints. And what I'm going to avoid trying to use is the black, because I'm probably going to use a dark resin over the top of this. So I'm going to do two different types of mold. This is the normal type of silicone mold, and then you often get this type as well, which is slightly different, but it does also have problems with normal paint and Posca pens and things like that. Now, it is important when you're using these paints to make sure that you give them a really good stir to start with, to ensure that you've got it all nicely mixed up, and work in a bit of a well ventilated area, because these do have a bit of a smell to them. The other thing is you might need to put 2 coats on to get a really solid finish, but I don't mind about that either. So for instance, I want to paint this I'm going to do them all multicoloured so you can see what the different colours look like. I mean, this isn't necessarily the colours I would be using if I was going to be making this to sell, but so you can see. So look, the paint goes on there really well and stays exactly where you put it. Doesn't keep separating, it doesn't keep sliding off. And I'm sure you can be a little bit neater than I am, but it does tend to cover quite well in the first coat. But if you want to go over it with a second coat, then you can. Look how well that is covering. Now, I've done quite a lot of different experiments with this. And if you get a bit where you don't want it, what I have there, I'm just going to take this wipe and get rid of it. Because while it's still wet, you can tidy it up really well. I've not done a very neat job of that bit or that bit there. And a little bit goes an awful long way as well with this. So don't be tempted to put a really thick coat on because you don't need it. And the thicker the coat, the longer it'll take to dry. And the same for this type of mould as well. So I'm going to do in here. And like I said, this is actually a real game changer. I am going to try with this one to do the same pattern either side, so the same colours. You can get a lot more colours than what I've got here. I just got a basic pack. I will link them in the description below. And then when you think, right, I want to use a different colour, this is that big wipe stuff. All I've literally done is just wash my brush out in this, and I've found it cleans up really lovely. So you don't need any special spirit or anything like that. Look at that. Look how clean that brush is now. So I'll pop my lid on, and now I'm going to go for a red. Again, don't forget to make sure that you give it a good mix round. This is quite therapeutic, I think, painting moulds like this. It can make you feel quite relaxed. And you can combine these colours as well to make a different colour. So if I wanted to, I could combine the yellow and the red and make a nice orange. See, look, none of that is peeling away from the actual mould itself or going into the middle or leaving blank spaces. That is all covering really well. And that's what you want. You want a nice, clean, easy finish that looks good. First of all, I'll show you how easy it is to mix some colours. So we'll make a bit of orange. Now, I'm going to make that on the bottom of this little thing here. And all I'm going to do is drop some colours on that there like that. Get my little stick and drop some yellow into it and give that a mix. You don't need much at all. And there we've got a nice orangey colour. I want it a little bit more orangey than that, so I'm going to put a bit more yellow in it. And these are coffee stirrers that I buy. You buy thousands of them for next to nothing, and I use them all the time. Again, I'll link them in the description below. I quite like that colour. You could make a pink if you wanted to, with the white, all sorts. So it's really easy to make your own colours with this. Where should we put that? I think we'll put the orange here. And like I said, don't be tempted to put this on too thick. Thinnest coat just to cover it, the better, because it will dry much, much quicker that way. And if you do need to go over it because you've left a little space, then you can go over it again afterwards anyway. So that's looking quite good. I'm going to finish off painting both of these, and then I'll tell you what's really important to do next. I've finished painting these now, and I'm really pleased at how they've come out. I think they look so pretty. And again, I only did one coat. I didn't do a second coat, and it's covered so well, and none of it is split away from the mould. What's really important I've found in my previous experiments with this is that you must let this dry fully for at least 24 hours to get the best results. If you're working in a cold place, then I would say let it dry for 2 days. But if you're working in a room that's at room temperature, then 24 hours should be enough. Because at the moment, this might feel dry, but actually underneath where it's touching the mould, it won't be dry. So I'm going to leave these 24 hours, then I'll show you what I'm going to do next. These are all lovely and dry now. They're not at all tacky, and I can see that they're dry from the other side as well. What I'm going to do is mix my resin up. Now I'm going to be using the Tea Expert Crystal Clear. I've been using this quite a lot recently because it is such a good price, and also you get loads of it, and it is a brilliant resin. It's slightly thinner than the other resins I use, which will be great for not only getting into all the details, but for also adding the pigment, because I'm going to put a black pigment on these. My resin's all mixed up now, and what I'm going to do is add my pigment. I'm going to add a little bit of the black opaque pigment by Let's Resin. I love that opaque pigment. It does a great job, look. But of course, I want that to be a little bit shimmery as well, so I'm going to add in a little bit of mica powder. And by adding pigment first, it really does help your colours go that little bit further, your pigment and your mica powder. We're going to give that a good mix in. Yeah, and that's given me a really nice opaque colour, nice and solid there now. I'm going to mix for another 20 seconds to make sure I've got it all the powders and all the pigments off the sides. Yep, that's all good. And now I can fill my mould, and then I can fill my little butterfly mould as well. Try and avoid scraping this if you're going to use any kind of pigment painted onto your mould. So what I'm using here, just to push this all into my mould, is a little silicone pointer. And these work brilliantly. These come in my kit. So if you want to get hold of some, then they're available in my kit. Okay, I'm going to just fill this up now with a little bit that's left. Trying desperately not to over pour, because that is the thing that I'm very likely to do. Right, that's it. Perfect. Now I'm going to leave this for a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to go over it with a long neck lighter and burst off any of the bubbles. I'll get rid of these ones first, and then I'll come back to it in a couple of minutes time. And you always get a few of these micro bubbles when you're mixing in mica powder in with your resin, because it kind of attracts them, traps air inside the mica powder, and then it goes into your resin. But it doesn't take long to get rid of them. Never use a torch, remember. A big thank you to all my members whose names are coming up now. We've got some exciting things going on in the membership group as well. And there's going to be some more videos and a little bit more behind the scenes. If you'd like to become a member, the link's in the description below. And also, I can't ever forget the people that buy me coffees. Honestly, without you guys, I would find a struggle to keep doing all these experiments and making all these projects. It really is appreciated, and thank you for all the lovely comments that you write in the comment section when you send me a coffee. If you'd like to buy me a coffee, just as a way of saying thank you and supporting my channel, the link for that is in the description below as well. We'll leave these now for 24 hours to cure up fully, and then I can show you how wondrous this comes out. These have all cured now, and I can't wait to show you what they look like. Now, my painting isn't the neatest painting because, as you know, I've got a tremor. But I'm sure that you could paint in these a lot neater. But painting on the moulds is so much easier than painting them afterwards. Oh, that has come out absolutely beautiful, and that enamel paint's going to be in there now forever. It's really well attached to that resin. I think that has come out absolutely stunning, and it's so difficult to paint on moulds with any other paints, and we don't always want to be using mica powder. And the turtle has, and remember, this was only one coat. If I'd have had done 2 coats, it would have been quite a solid finish. But I think that turtle has come out again stunning, don't you? I did his little eyes, look, in some white with a little blue dot as well. But that has embedded so nice into there. And the mould is lovely and clean. You know, it's ready to go again. Just a quick wipe over with a wipe, and you're ready to use that mould again. Definitely a game changer in the way that we paint moulds. And that stuff isn't at all expensive. It's really cheap, and it lasts forever. It goes on ever such a long way. Let me know in the comments if you're going to try this, because I think it's well worth a try, and I think you're going to love it. Boot that like button, hit that subscribe button, and make sure you check out the video that's coming up next. It's another experiment that I've done using colours as well. Most of all, enjoy your resin. Take care. Bye.